Hey, what's going on? This is Ricardo with the Code 7 Podcast Network. This live broadcast is sponsored by Rapid Deploy and supported by InDigital, Elite Next Gen Core Services. And it's about 23:34 on March 16th, 2020. And we are live. And we're live from my home. um, there's been a lot of stuff going on lately, as you all know. And with all the shit that's been going on, I thought, why not get online and let's tell some funny stories. Let's laugh a little bit because, as I always say, laughing is good medicine. And last week at the Georgia Emergency Communications Conference, we did just that. Now, I might actually save that for um, another episode. Like that episode, I'm not going to be able to post for a few weeks. I have so many episodes that are coming up that it's going to be a few weeks before I get that one out. But I might actually get some snippets from it and play it on another live episode like this. Again, with everything that's going on, I kind of wanted to kind of put something out there to get you all to laugh, or at least kind of take your mind off of the shit that's going on right now around the world. um so what I did, I don't know, maybe about 30 minutes ago now, before I got everything set up, was I ended up putting out a post saying, is anybody awake? Do you want to chat? Does anyone want to share some funny stories or anything like that? So I had put something out there, and a bunch of people put um, some funny stories up there, and I wanted to share some of my own because there's a lot of stuff that happens to me. And if you're not a patron of the podcast, um, there are or there is a behind the scenes series that I am recording and putting out there weekly. I've got another one that's coming up here pretty soon, but some of the stuff that I put on there are um, different things that happen to me on my travels. And I've shared some embarrassing stories that that have happened to me while I've been traveling. So it looks like um, I've got about 14 people watching right now. If you are watching right now, throw something in the comments. Let me know who you are, where you're watching from, what you're watching on, where you're at, what's going on, so that we can get acquainted here. I'm using um, one of my newer cameras here, so the quality actually looks all right. But I the the lighting wasn't that great, so it actually looked dark. So I have this huge lamp that's right next to the door. So if any of my family were to come in right now, it would probably knock it over onto my head. So hopefully that doesn't happen. The only person that I know that is awake right now actually is my son. He's doing homework because they're doing, e-learning and everything. So he's still doing homework. So if that happens to happen, if you see something fall over, that's gonna, yeah, crack me over the head here. But hey, I'm here to make you laugh, right? Or at least try to. So looks like we got Marty out of was that Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, off their iPhone. Good evening, hello, hello. And then whoever else, bring it up, because the more people that actually comment and post and react and everything, the more this feed will pop up on other people on their feeds, so that they can jump in and see this as well. So as that is going on, I'm going to go ahead and play the intro to what we're doing, and hell, let's make this an open mic. So let's put that out there.
This is Jordan, and you're listening to the Code 7 Podcast Network.
All right, got the intro going. Warning: this episode contains the 3 A's of podcasting: adult content, adult language, and awesomeness. You've been warned. My girl Erica is on. I see you there.
There is no one over here to cook our lunch.
Got to get that stank face.
We are waiting for our lunch, and there's no one here to cook our lunch.
All right, calm down. Where are you at?
The group home. Now, what are you going to do?
We'll get some help over there for you, okay?
Welcome to Open Mic, where we visit the lighter side of dispatch, because laughing is good medicine. Oh, yeah. Once again, this is Within the Trenches, and we're going to do an open mic. We're going to talk about some funny stories. Again, this live broadcast is sponsored by Rapid Deploy and supported by InDigital, a leader next gen core services. And I'm excited to be here. Live from my home, as I said before. And we've got Ken out of Ohio. How's it going, man? So I posted something up, and well, hell, let's see if I can do this because I had my phone plugged in. So hold on. All right, I got it. Okay, so there were some stories on here that people were posting. The first one, I have to mention it right off the bat. This gentleman said he edited it for privacy, but just wanted me to read the description and kind of discuss here and stuff. And so looking at this, it says the title on it was Ambulance Needed, and it says an over 90-year-old male has crawled up on the roof and is not feeling well. And in the notes it says, yes, 90-year-old male on top of the roof. Like, yeah, you read that right. That's exactly what it was. Anybody have something like that before? I don't think I've had something like that before, other than cats that are climbing a tree and then they can't get down. And I can imagine this old man climbing his ass up there on the roof for whatever reason, and then trying to get back down and being a little scared and unable to. So I commented back, kind of asking about that and saying just that I could imagine him getting up there. And the gentleman responds by saying, yeah, right across the highway from me. When I got on scene, he was cool. He was cool as a cucumber, just couldn't get down. His caretaker was asleep. He wanted to start up the swamp cooler for the summer, so he climbed up and couldn't get back down the ladder. It took 4 firefighters and 2 EMTs to get him down. Poor guy, man. And in no way is this making fun of this gentleman. It's just it's the situation of it that is, where else would this shit happen? Got another person that just jumped on here. I've got several that have jumped on here. So it looks like there's Lindsay, Melissa Carpenter, and then Tabitha. Hey, how's it going? And then, of course, I mentioned Marty, Ken, and my girl Erica there. So we've got several people that are on here watching. And if you have any stories that you want to type up as well for me to read off, you can also put it right in the comments, because I can interact with all of you right here and see this as it's coming through. So there's some other ones here that got sent in. So there was one here that says, I had a 19-year-old male calling needing EMS because he took his Adderall and then smoked a lot of weed and didn't feel right. Now, if you can tell me in listening to my wife snore, so if you can tell me right now, if any of you have ever taken Adderall or know people who have taken Adderall, what exactly does that do? Does that just keep you, does that make you hyper focused or something? I've never taken it. I don't know. But if the person smoked a lot of weed, then I can imagine how they wouldn't feel right, especially if it made them feel hyper focused, but then you tack on the weed there, and that is just a whole another ride altogether for that casserole of confusion that they probably ended up going through. So that was another one that went in there. Someone else posted up here saying that they're a hangry third shifter. I know exactly what you mean. When I was working third shift, I was one of those as well. Yeah, I would get hangry and shit, and I would leave to go find something. As of right now, however, across different parts, I don't know that you can leave, but again, I know exactly what you mean when it comes to that. Let me see what some of the other ones were here. There was one that I saw where somebody was, okay, I had someone call saying they were robbed, but they figured out who did it, and now they were at the suspect's house and wanted them to go out there and get their stuff back. And the person says, when I asked what was stolen, his answer was 9 marijuana plants. Got some weed, some more weed. A lot of people with weed that's getting stolen. Um, and the person ends up saying, "Yes, sir, we'll be right there to help you with that." And in parentheses, this was before marijuana was legal in our state, and I had to use my mute button on that call. Oh, my homeboy Matt is on. Excellent. How's it going, man? And then Brandon just jumped on. Ozarks out of Missouri. So one of the things here as well is I had a call similar to this. Now, this is Allegan County when I'm working in Michigan. I This was when medical marijuana was first put in place there, and I remember getting a phone call from a guy who wanted an officer to go out there to talk to him because he had had plants stolen as well, and we put it out there, and immediately the trooper that we gave it to says, go to secondary, which is where they would want to go to a secondary channel in order to get more information. I'm sure you have a channel like this as well. So they asked who took the call, and then they told him, and he goes, "Okay, stand by. I'm calling dispatch." So he calls up, and I answer, and he goes, "Man, are you shitting me right now? Are you for real?" And I said, "Yeah, man." I said, "This is a legit call that you have to go out to." And he goes, "This can't be true because, I signed up to, put people away for stuff like this, and now I'm going to go out there because it's stolen." And I said, "Yeah, man, you got to get your ass out there and do it." And because those are his plants, and he's a medical provider. So that was one of the funny things that ended up happening, that a lot of the officers were, they couldn't believe that they actually had to do that now. But I can relate to you who put that there. Now, there are a few other ones here, but again, if you have any stories, put them right the into the comments here. I'm looking back and forth and keeping track of them. And good to be awake on one of your live episodes. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's been a great experience to be able to do this and continue sharing stories, and especially during this time and everything. It's what we need, especially with this, sharing some funny stories and just being able to laugh and get it through there. um Thoughts and prayers to Springfield, Missouri, an officer. Thoughts and prayers for sure. Thank you for sharing that there. Thoughts and prayers going out to Springfield, Missouri. um I've got, well, it looks like that ends the stories for the comments here, unless there's some other ones that went through and I just haven't seen them yet. Trying to redo this here. Oh, there's myself right there. Holy hell, there's about 20 comments on here. Okay, so there's a lot more than what there was before. So let me try to skim through here. So this person says, had a man call whose wife had thrown a Sprite at me and further clarified that it was a cup of Sprite she threw in his face. Oh, wasting Sprite. And further clarified, or no, it was dripping all down, or the person says it was dripping all down my face and got on my shoes, and I'm so mad I could pop her head like a zit. Thank God for the mute button, because I'm sure he'd have gotten even madder if he heard me fall out of my chair. So there's some of those things where in domestics, they're not funny, but the verbal domestics, there are funny things that can happen. I had taken a domestic once where a gentleman who was in his 40s was having an argument with his girlfriend who was in her mid 60s. They were living in an RV behind a friend's house, and he calls, and there had been nothing physical or anything, but out of nowhere he starts yelling, "She's throwing out my spam. She's throwing out my spam." And I had to ask him, even though he had said it twice, I had to ask him again, "Sir, can you repeat that?" And he goes, "She is throwing out my spam." And so of course I had to put that in the narrative. Caller advised that the female half is throwing out his spam. But then in the background I hear her yell out, you don't need that shit anyway. And what do? I've got my headset and I put it up because I started chuckling, um, again, because there's just some shit that happens that can be funny. Now, I've also got some tapes that I want to play here. And Jeremy, you can actually, send me a DM and send me the information and everything, and we'll figure that out. And I'll get that from you. Thank you so much. That's awesome. I appreciate it. So okay, we've got some more that are coming in here. Let me first play you one of these tapes. All right. Are you ready? Throw in an emoji or a reaction, something here in the comments so I know that you're ready for it. I'm going to go ahead and close my app here. All right, here we go.
Yes.
911, what's the location of your emergency? What's the problem?
My husband, we were just getting ready to have a little bit of sex, and he accidentally went in the wrong place, and I think he ate some. I'm not being rude or anything. I'm just wanting him. I don't want a virus in this house. I already have pneumonia.
So it's you or him?
Him,
Okay. How old is he?
he's 58.
What's your name? Okay, we'll send the life squad over, okay?
Okay,
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, so I'm sure all of you heard that. And if you didn't, please let me know, because I want to make sure that the sound is coming over and that you can hear it. So in the comments, if you could let me know that that it's coming over, I would really appreciate it, that you were able to hear it. That was one that I got from a friend of mine, a whole folder worth of funny stories. And my homegirl Sarah, hey, how's it going? I'm looking for funny stories. We're just talking about funny stories tonight. There's a lot of shit that's going on in the world, and I wanted to do a live broadcast and just share some funny stories and such. So that one right there was one of them, and that, oh my lord, Fulton County E911 going strong. Director just fed us Papa John's. Hell yeah, I got to get that Papa Juan's up in there. But yeah, so that's one of the calls that that was shared, and I remember when I played it, I'm trying to remember if I had played it first before editing. I might have. I think I played it first before editing, in at the Indiana NINA conference. See, because if you don't know, Imagine Listening and Open Mic started in Indiana. The podcast and everything started in Michigan, because that's where I was during the time. But when I started doing the podcast, or I'm sorry, the live audience episodes, Imagine Listening, it all started at Indiana NINA. And so I had friends there that were giving me tapes, and I was playing them, and in post production I edited out. So in that call there, you don't hear the name, you don't hear the address or anything. All the tapes that I'm going to play, they do get the information, but I took it out because I don't want to get sued. Because that's the way it goes. You're not supposed to have that information out there. So I ended up taking it out for that reason. But again, that was one of the ones, and people were just dying laughing because I'll leave it at that, because it's crazy. So let me see, what do I got here? All right, there's one more that came in. It says, I got a call around 4 a.m. one morning. Caller needed to report a vehicle stolen. I asked what type of vehicle, and they said a school bus. What? A school bus at 4 a.m.? Yes. Going to be easy to spot. However, I wasn't able to key the radio to give out the call because my coworker started singing "The Wheels on the Bus Go Round and Round." Awesome. Isn't it, as always, your your coworkers that make it that much more fun. I mean, it's like a call that I got early on when I was actually still training at Allegan County, and one of my coworkers, Kelly, she put in a call, and it was a BOL, a be on the lookout that I needed to put out. I was training on radios, and they had told me, or she ends up saying, you need to make sure you put it out exactly how I put it in there. And I said, what? I said, I don't, wait a minute, what's in it? So I go to read it and I'm like, I can't do that. I am not going to say that because I just started. I mean, I'm still in training and I do not want to get fired. Like I really love what I'm doing. So I'm not going to put it out there that way. So then I got to figure out how to put it out. So what it was it was a guy who was intoxicated and was going from house to house and was shitting in people's driveways. But I had to figure out how to say that on the radio, and they're telling me, you better say it. You better say it the way it's written. And I didn't. I ended up saying defecating. There's an intoxicated male defecating in driveways, going from door to door, defecating in driveways. And of course, there's always that one officer. I can't even remember who it was, but if you're listening right now, if you're watching this, I'm sure you know, you know who you are. And so what I ended up saying was, the officer ends up saying, Central, what does that mean? And I remember saying, he's pooping in driveways. and then people start sending me messages. They're like, well done. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Oh man, so much fun. Oh, there's another part here. It says, turns out it was a sub driver who had gotten the wrong bus. Oops, sorry, sub driver. Oh my Lord. Let's see. I've got another one here. Okay, I'm gonna read this next one here in just one moment. Let me play you one more tape here. Let's see. This should be the edited one. So now we'll go with this other one. Okay, hold on. Here we go.
Police dispatch.
I'm calling to see, I think my husband called and said that I took his false teeth.
You took his what?
False teeth. Did you get a call like that?
On keys?
Teeth. You put in your mouth?
Did anybody report somebody stealing false teeth? I'm sorry, it's not funny. I guess
Yes, it is funny because over there, he knows he hit me yesterday morning, and I just come in and got pictures of my eye, and he knows he's going to go to jail, so he's trying anything to try to get me in trouble. But his teeth are at the house. I mean, if you get a call,
if we get a call, it's teeth. The other dispatchers say, well, it wouldn't be funny if it was your teeth.
just tell him they are at the house. Go look again.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. I think it's funny too.
Oh my God, men, just
That's it.
Oh, okay. Okay, hon.
Thank you, hon.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay, so that was, again, like I said, I've got a bunch of tapes from a friend of mine who hooked me up, and they're, as you can see, they're funny ones. So this one is false teeth. And you listen to the dispatcher, and again, what do you do? What else can you do but laugh with the caller? It's a way to relate, of course. I have to listen to it again. I'm pretty sure the caller was laughing first, but either way, it's one of those funny calls that you can't help but laugh. It's the same thing as the one domestic that I took, where there was, and you've probably heard the story before, but for those who are watching and haven't, I'll say it right now. But if you know what a speak and spell is, I had taken a call once where I answer 911, and I say, Allegan 911, where's your emergency? And I hear, I need help. And the person, of course, they had they're using one of those voice boxes to talk and all, but it's not what I expected. Never would I have expected to hear that voice or anything, speaking to a, a speak and spell, what sounded like a speak and spell. And that's immediately when I take the phone call, that's the first thing I imagine
Police
is,
dispatch.
oh, it started all over.
I'm calling.
Now that is creepy because I did not touch anything and it just went off. Whoa. Ooh. If you read my post a couple days ago, I had something tapping on my foot. So that's kind of weird, kind of creepy that just happened. I'm trying to think of where I was at now. Oh, so I'm talking to the person and I'm hearing this voice and I just can't, imagine it. Like I said, in my head immediately, I'm picturing a speak and spell with a phone and I'm talking to the person. So the person is having an issue with their daughter, nothing physical, all verbal. And they, I get a name and I keep saying, Carl. And I keep saying Carl over and over and over. Carl this, Carl that, Carl, they're almost there. And finally, Carl got pissed off or just had enough with the whole thing, with me calling them Carl. And at the very end, I hear, my name is not Carl, it's Carol. This thing makes me sound like a man. Ha, ha, ha. And it's one of the things that I will never, ever forget. I've written about it and talked about it many times, but again, one of those things that you never forget because you don't expect to hear that voice on the other line. And that was one of those moments as well, just like this dispatcher on this call where I started laughing. I busted up laughing because that person was laughing. So I decided to bust up laughing as well. I hung up the phone and I just sat there and thought, what the hell? What a night. Oh man, but it was a good time. I definitely missed the job. There was a lot of good things that happened. There was a lot of shit things that happened as well, but it was worth all of it just to know that either I helped someone or I was just able to be there for them in their time of need, or to be there for my family that was there in dispatch with me, and also those out in the field as well. So I definitely miss it, but these phone calls as well make me miss it even more. So let's see. I've got a couple stories in here. Let me see. So I'm just reading. I'm reading these as best that I can as they're written. So let me see here. I've got one here that says I had a guy call for EMS. I asked for complaint and he says my foot ain't working. I don't know why that struck me funny right off the bat. My foot ain't working. So of course I go to trauma protocols for a broken foot and start questioning. He says it ain't broken, just won't work. I asked for his name and he says Immortal Dog. What? Okay, hold on. I'm already kind of crying here. Okay, let me get back into this. I asked for his name and he says Immortal Dog. I'm dying and hitting the mute button and send PD to clear the scene. He was possibly on a mad trip. What? Possibly on a mad trip on a curb somewhere and did not have a broken foot. He denied treatment. One of the best ones. Immortal Dog. Yeah. I like that. Thank you, Sarah. That was good. Okay, let's see. We had a guy go into Walmart on Saturday night dressed in a hazmat suit. What? Guy was ahead of the curve. Hazmat suit ended up being painter's coveralls, full mask and goggles on, and started spraying people with the substance from a pump can. What? When Metro arrived, he took off, caused a full hazmat response / MCI with 13 people who needed to be evaluated. Holy hell. He had to pull them off a 6,000-gallon diesel spill they were working on. Took about 3 hours to evaluate and assess. Guy was found at his parents' house, said he was doing it for YouTube views. What? This guy. Substance was just water. Of course. Full moment. Vegas in rare form these past few days. God. Oh. Again, 911, right? That's where this shit happens. Holy crap. I got another one here that just came in. We had a call one night of a loose donkey on the highway. Loose donkey on the highway. What a jackass. The donkey. We dispatch a deputy to it. He gets on scene, and after about 10 minutes, he goes 10-8 on the radio. He says, "County, I'll be 10-8, unable to locate the jackass." And right after our sergeant gets on the radio, he says, "Be on the lookout. They're all over the county." Very nice. Oh man, this is good. See, this is good stuff. Like I said, laughter is good medicine, and I love funny stories. And Christopher, hello from Allegan County. Hell yeah, Allegan County, my peeps. I hope everything is going good there. I talked to Whitney. It was either earlier today, no, maybe yesterday, just checking on all of you, seeing how you are all doing, and if you guys ever need anything, just let me know. But good to see you on here. I've got another tape that I want to play here. Now, some of these are straight up funny. Other ones are just like, really? That's what this is all about? But actually, first, before I play some of these other ones, if you heard the intro, or if you've ever listened to open mic, especially now with the newer intro that's in there, there is a call that I kind of cut up a little bit and put through there, and I'm going to play the whole call now.
Dispatch.
There is no one over here to cook our lunch. We are waiting for our lunch, and there's no one here to cook our lunch.
All right, calm down. Where are you at?
This is the group home. The group home.
Behind the hospital?
The group home.
Okay, where are you at? I don't know where the group home is.
Across the street from the unit, down the street.
Okay.
No one has come in to make lunch.
Calm down, ma'am. Okay.
What can you do?
What's your name?
Why?
Well, if you want lunch, I need to know your name.
Well, how are you going to cook it?
What'd you call me for if you don't want me to help you? You want me
What
to help
do
you?
you do?
What's your name, ma'am?
What are you going to do if I tell you?
I'm going to try to get you some lunch.
Okay, Janet.
What is it?
Janet.
How do you spell it?
You know me, Janet. Will you please listen? Janet.
Okay. I'm just having a hard time hearing you when you're talking so loud.
Now what are you going to do?
We'll get some help over there for you, okay? What apartment are you in?
We're not going to we're waiting for lunch.
We'll get some help to you, ma'am, okay?
Okay, goodbye.
You can hear my homeboy at the end there. He's trying to hold back from chuckling, and I probably would have done the same thing, because at that very end there, it's hard to even understand what she is saying, you know. But again, that's one of those calls that you end up you're speaking to callers. They're not of course, when people call, they're not having the best day, and you just got to roll with the punches, man. And and sometimes it happens like that. So in comparison, and Christopher, as you are watching from Allegan, something that happened to me, I actually got a letter for doing a good job, which at first I thought, oh shit, I'm gonna get something bad for this. So this guy calls, right? And he is already upset. He is trashed. Like, you can tell he is intoxicated. and he's talking to me, and he keeps calling me dispatcher. It's one of the things I'll never forget, the way he was saying it. He was like, come on, dispatcher, do your job, dispatcher, just over and over and over. So what this guy wanted was, he wanted me to send an officer to his house to give him a breathalyzer test. The reason he wanted this breathalyzer test is because he wanted to prove that he wasn't as drunk as the people at the bar thought he was, that kicked him out of the bar. And I said, are you serious? Is that's really what you want me to send someone out there for? I don't know, sir, that they're going to do that. And he kept saying, do your job, dispatcher, just do your job. And I said, oh, okay. And so he kept calling over and over and over. And I had gotten a hold of one of the troopers, and he said, if he continues to call, let me know, and I will send somebody out there, or he would go out there himself, rather, and he would hook him for, abuse of 911. So the guy calls again, and still being brutal with me. And I said, you know what, sir, I'm going to send somebody out. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to help. So I'm going to go ahead and send somebody out to assist you with this, to do this for you. And he goes, well, it's about time, dispatcher. It's about time you do your job. He goes, I just want to make sure that that those people know that they kicked me out for no reason. Now, this is in Allegan County. He was at a bar. It's not there anymore. It burned down, but he was in a bar that was at the very southern part of the county, and where he lived was in the most northern part of the county. So before I hang up with him, I ended up saying, so sir, you're telling me that they kicked you out of this bar, right? Because they said that you were really drunk. You're trying to prove that you were not as drunk as they say you were, right? And he goes, yeah. He goes, that's why I want this breathalyzer test. And I said, okay, did you drive yourself home? Silence. And then he goes, well, you know what? That's not the point. That's not the point here. And I said, sir, you drove from the most southern part of the county to the most northern part by yourself? Like you're the one who drove? And he goes, again, that's not the point here. They need to come and give me that breathalyzer test. And I said, okay, no worries. We're going to get somebody out there. And he ends up saying to me, just let your trooper know, or let your officer know that I don't mess around. Okay. Let him know that. And I said, okay, I'll make sure to let him know that. So I hang up with him, tell the trooper that the guy called one more time, and I tell him to go to secondary. And he goes to secondary. And I said, I just want to make sure the caller wanted me to advise you that he doesn't mess around. And then the trooper comes back and he starts laughing, and he goes, I'll keep that in mind. They check out there, not even 5 minutes there, they hook him. It's like, we got one in custody. I'm like, yes, eat it. Got it. Again, just one of those things that happens in dispatch. You just got to roll with the punches. And I got a letter from the trooper to the director at the time, saying that I did an excellent job, even though I was getting brutalized by this drunk ass. But I was able to get through it. Oh, I miss those times. I really do. Because then you have to figure out how to talk to people, right? You end up talking to people so much that you learn how to get through all these different obstacles with people who are being dicks to you. But you're there to help no matter what. And that's why we're so good at what we do, because we're able to give that level of service, even though people are being jerks. A lot of times it's not like this gentleman. A lot of times it's just because they're under a lot of stress and they don't know how to get that out. So then it's up to us to take that and put it back out there, but in a good way, because we're helping them. So yeah, again, one of those big things that I miss about it. Score one for dispatch. Hell yeah. Exactly, right? Score one for dispatch. So I've got another tape here. Let me see where it's at. Which one is this one? Here we go. Here we go with another tape.
No, I don't know if it's emergency.
Yeah, sorry, in Hidden Valley. Is this the deputies?
we dispatch for, ma'am?
I just came home and apparently a large red squirrel has fallen down in my fireplace. And I don't know if it's hurt or not, but it's in a corner and I can't get it to go out the door that's close by, and I don't know what I should do.
She's down in your fireplace now?
No, he's in my kitchen.
Well, when I was like that, when you had it, I had.
Where is he? You say he's in the kitchen. Do you know where at in the kitchen?
Yeah, he's in the corner.
Okay. You got the door open?
Yeah, I opened up the door and I've been trying to, convince him to leave by poking the flagpole at him, but he just keeps making this noise. So I don't know if he got hurt when he fell down in the fireplace or not.
Okay, what is your name? What's your first name, man? I'll get some help up there for you, okay?
Thank you.
So there's another one. And this is with animals. When I was working in Allegan, one of the things that I used to get all the time in the middle of the night out of the city of Allegan were calls for bats. So people were always calling for bats, and we would send an officer out there to assist them. And I think what was more fun was the narrative that they would put into it. I went in and they saw the fangs of the bat and ended up taking it out with a swing or something. That was probably some of the best stuff, was reading the narrative that the officers put in afterwards. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have dealt with that as well, but those were the best things. We'd end up getting an MCT message from the officer saying, make sure to check out the narrative. Animal calls, man. Those are, can be some of the best ones and also some of the craziest ones that come in. I took a call once in Allegan where there was a lady who called in and she said that, and this one is not exactly funny. This is just like an outrageous one. This is one where you think, what? Are you serious? That actually happened? So I take this phone call from a lady and she ends up saying that just right away, she's yelling, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. And she is hysterical and she's freaking out. And I'm thinking, of course, I hit him. I'm thinking it's a person that she hit. And we get everybody hauling ass over there. I'm trying to keep her calm and everything. And she is in just this little 4-door sedan and she is in this accident. She also yells out, he's on either side of my vehicle. So then I'm thinking, okay, so she hit a person and the person is in half. Is that what's going on? Luckily, the fire rescue was there within seconds. Like it did not take long at all for somebody to get out there, and still trying to keep her calm and everything. We got everybody headed that way. Well, what ended up happening was she hit a horse is what it was. So she's in this 4-door sedan. There's a horse in the middle of the road. She goes fast enough that she splits the horse in half. No shit. Splits the horse in half. The car has minor damage, which is crazy to think, seeing that it's just a 4-door car. So she was going hella fast, or she just hit it right in the right spot and split that thing in half. And I remember I remember if it was EMS or fire rescue, they called up for their times and numbers. And I asked them, and that's how I found out. I said, what exactly happened out there? And they told me, and I was like, holy hell, you've got to be kidding me. And the person goes, it was amazing. Like, how? I don't know how fast the person was going, but again, they hit it just in the right spot that it just split in half. Sorry for the sound effect, but that happened. That was one of the craziest things to hear. And that was just in the evening as well. I mean, it was nighttime and that happened, but I swear in the beginning thought it was a person that she ended up hitting. Animal lovers out there, I apologize. But yeah, that happened. It was pretty crazy. So I got another call for you here. Let's see. This one has to do with a chimney.
Dispatch.
Yes, I got a wood stove that I got a question about. It keeps blowing smoke back into the house.
Okay. You need the fire department?
Well, no, I was just wondering if anybody could tell me because why it's not drafting, pulling out, and when it cools off and it blows back in, and it just keeps happening, constantly, and the fire alarm's going off, and
Seeing like it's in the fire department over.
well, I don't need it's not an emergency.
Seems
I need
logical,
them
right?
here. I'm just trying to figure that out.
You had to call someone that does like chimney repair.
Okay.
Sounds like it may need cleaned out or something.
That ain't nothing the fire department to tell you, huh? Keep them burning your house down.
I mean, they're not going to be able to tell you something over the phone. I can send them to your house. Is there smoke in your house now?
Well, yeah, I blowed it out, but it's still. All right, thank you.
Do you want, call us back if you want the fire department to come. That's the best I can do for you.
All right.
Okay.
So like calls like this, people just don't know. I mean, it is funny, but when you're taking the call, it's what do you do next? It's just like like we'll go back to animal calls when people call in for a sick raccoon or something of that nature. They immediately think that animal control is the way to go, and we'd have to tell them, no, you're going to have to get a hold of like some wildlife wranglers. And like, okay, can you call them and send them over? And I would say, actually, that's going to be your deal. Like you're going to have to call them yourself. And they would say, well, okay, well, do you have the phone number? And I said, well, I can find it for you quick. I've got time at the moment, but of course we'd end up getting a bunch of phone calls and stuff. And then you got to put them on hold or tell them either you can Google it or you can look in the yellow pages. Oh man, that's going back there, isn't it? Because I remember having to tell people that as well. Oh, we got a story that came in here in the comments. Again, if you have a funny story, make sure to put it in the comments. So it says, I had a caller once called to report a deer standing in the road inside the city limits. I joked with her and said, yes, they can. I joked with her. Sorry, I ended up ruining that because I read it and I started laughing myself. So this is probably just as funny, right? Some bloopers here. I joked with her and said, yes, they can't read the city limit signs to make light of the situation. Next day, there was a complaint on you. Oh, I can relate to you because, there were times, especially during hunting season, we would get a lot of people who would call in, and I'm sure a lot of you have dealt with this as well. We'd get a lot of people who would call in saying, I just wanted to let you guys know there is a, male or female, whichever, walking on the side of the road carrying a rifle, and they're dressed in camo. I don't know if they're a hunter or what, but they're on the side of the road and they're walking through. And every time someone would call in, every time I wanted to say, well, how can you see them? Because they're wearing camo. And I've wanted to say it just to make light of the situation, and I would probably end up like this person with a complaint. But man, I wish I would have had just a little bit, just to be able to do it, because that would have been some funny shit. I did, however, one time have a call where there was this little old lady who would call all the time. She just wanted to talk, and I remember one night she fell asleep on the phone with me, and of course, like I said, this would be nighttime. I always worked midnight shift. There was only one stint that I had a day shift, but which blew. I could not do day shift, especially because I lived like 40 minutes away from where dispatch was. I would have to wake up at 3 a.m. to leave by 3:30 to get to work by 4:15 to get briefed and relieve the other supervisor. So that morning shift sucked. But anyway, back to this. Midnight shift, talking to this lady, and she ends up falling asleep on me, and she's snoring. And I realize at that moment, I am never, ever going to get a chance like this again. So I'm going to take a chance and I'm just going to do this. And if I get in trouble, screw it. It's worth it. So as she's snoring, I end up saying, Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? Annie, are you okay? And she ends up waking up, and yes, she was okay. She was fine. She just fell asleep. But there was never going to be another time that I was going to get a chance to do that. Annie, are you okay? And I remember my coworkers there standing up and just laughing and saying, I cannot believe you just did that. And I said, I took a chance, man, because there was no time ever again that I was probably going to be able to do that. So again, fun times in dispatch. I miss it. I really do. So I got one more tape to play as we go into the wrap up of this live episode of Open Mic. And I want to thank all of you for sticking through this with me and sharing stories and just having fun tonight. This was good. If people enjoyed this, please put in the comments so that I know, and maybe we'll do this more often. And especially now with a lot of stuff that's going on, we need a lot more humor and just to be here together and doing things. So let me know if you enjoyed this. I'll keep doing this. This is fun. I enjoy doing this. So here is one more tape.
This sounds really crazy. I can't do it. My moron of a husband sounds so.
County 911, what's location of your emergency?
Okay, it's an emergency, but not. My husband's stuck in mud. He's confined to a wheelchair.
How old is he?
75.
And he's in the wheelchair?
Yes.
Is it in a front yard or backyard, ma'am?
Okay, we've got a barn, and we even had a whole pathway built so he could get down in there. And I'm putting some stuff away in the barn, and he disappears outside. And instead of asking me if he's going to fit, he rolls back into the grass part, which is all muddy, and his back wheels won't come out. I can't get him out. The chair itself weighs like 400 pounds of Permobil. And I said, what did you do that for? To look at a blank wall of the barn. We got windows put in so he could look out. Do you think he'd look out the windows? No, he has to roll down that little pathway and roll back into the mud. And he's stuck there.
Okay. How old did you say he was again? I'm sorry.
What?
How old did you say he was again?
75.
Okay.
And he's an idiot.
That's just a man thing. We'll get somebody right up there to help you. And your name is? Okay. And you said the chair itself weighs approximately how much?
I think it weighs about 400. It's an electric. It's a Permobil, and the back wheels. It fell off the walkway, and they're dug into the mud. And there's no way I can pick it up and get the wheels out. So somebody has to lift it, get the chair. He's fine, except the wheels are stuck in the mud.
Okay,
we'll get off the pathway instead of asking me if he was going right. He just rolled off.
Okay, we'll get somebody right up there.
Oh man. Again, another one of those moments where all you can do is is to laugh. Because what else are you going to do when you're taking stuff like that, especially when the caller is saying a bunch of stuff and just kind of ragging on her husband. Oh man. Yeah, I would have been the same way. Like, all right, we'll get somebody out there. Sorry about your luck. There's that call kind of reminds me of a call I had as well. It was a medical, and again, nighttime medical, and an elderly male calls in, and I just hear him as we're talking, and I'm asking questions. He starts laughing, and he's just, and I'm sitting there thinking, why are you laughing, man? Like, this is crazy. So he's calling in about his wife who's having difficulty breathing. And she had a trach in, and she's having difficulty breathing. Like, I can hear her in the background just. Oh, that was kind of Darth Vader-ish. That's not what I meant to do, but she was having trouble breathing, and so but he's laughing, and I'm asking him, everybody's already headed out there. I'm just keeping them on the line in case anything crazy happens, right? And I'm I'm asking him, sir, like, what is so, I'm sorry, what's so funny, or what else is going on? And he says, oh, I keep telling her not to clean it the way she's cleaning it, and now this happened, and I was right, and it's just funny, and so he starts laughing. Well, what happened was she uses excuse me, she uses a wire brush to clean it, right? Ugh. Uses a wire brush to clean the tube, and whatever she was doing, I don't know how she did it, but it snapped and it was stuck inside the tube, and that's why she couldn't breathe. And he didn't tell me this until the end, even though I had been asking him, how did it happen, what is going on, and all this other stuff, and he was just laughing. And I'm trying to get him to tell me more, as everyone is already headed out there. Luckily, they weren't too far. I mean, they were actually kind of close to where fire rescue was going to be coming in. So it was only, a couple of minutes that it took. But at the end, as he's busting up laughing, he goes, should I get some pliers to pull it out? And I hear, Central, we're on scene. And I said, sir, don't, just hold on, just go answer the door and let them in, and they're going to help you out. Okay. Everyone is going to get there. Fire rescue's already there, and EMS is just about to check out there. And he's just, all right, I'll get the door. And I hang up the phone, and I'm just sitting there, just face palming and laughing, because what the hell, right? Like, this is your wife, and this is happening. Oh man, just one of those things that happens in dispatch that all you can do is laugh. And that's what this is all about. That's what this episode was all about. Open mic. If you've been to one of the live audience sessions, it is even more crazy, even more funny. And I'm going to be sharing that episode here soon enough. So again, all of you who have been with me, it's going on an hour now that I've been on here doing, sharing, all of us sharing funny stories, tapes that I have, and I've got a lot more tapes that I can play for the next time. But again, especially for the playback, those who watch this after the live one, please make sure to put in the comments if you enjoyed this. And if enough people enjoyed it, let's do more of this. Let's keep doing this, because this is also something that I'm doing with patrons, that we're going to be doing more stuff like that, and being able to actually bring them on and do have them actually share the story themselves. So again, let me know. But thank you very much. Stay safe out there. Take care of each other. And I thank you all so much for joining me for this live broadcast of Open Mic. This broadcast has been sponsored by Rapid Deploy and supported by InDigital Elite and Next Gen Core Services. I'm going to try to put this out there as well on as like a bonus episode. So you'll be able to hear this later on. It'll be 24/7 on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, your favorite podcasting app, as well as withinthetrenches.net. If you are looking for discounts to the store, swag, t-shirts, more bonus episodes, all types of things, the behind the scenes series that I'm doing, you can check out patreon.com/WTT podcast. And then if you have any comments, questions, or you want to be a guest on the show, you can email us, and that'll be wttpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter. That is @911podcast. And you can like us here on Facebook, and that's facebook.com/withinthetrenchespodcast. Thank you all for everything. The support for the I Am 911 movement, for the podcast, for Imagine Listening. Thank you for the job that you do, and for literally risking your lives right now, going to dispatch and doing what you do best, which is kick ass and take names as the most vital piece of public safety. Thank you all for joining me and for spending about an hour with me, laughing and sharing stories. This has been a lot of fun. Again, let me know if this is something that you enjoyed, and we can do this more. Have a good one, everybody.